The Geek Girl Riot. Geek Girl Riot.
It's Geek Girl Riot time, and the dynamic, can I speak? The dynamic duo that you've come to love, right, is here once again. It's me, Sherin, and
Julian.
And we've got, I say it every week because it's true, almost every week, we've got really good stuff tonight. We're going to talk about Challengers, the new movie starring Zendaya. We're going to talk with George Rexstrew and Jayden Revri, our Dead Boys from Dead Boy Detectives on Netflix. Then we're going to get into Kaiju number 8, the manga, and the new anime on Crunchyroll. We love Crunchyroll. And then also Windbreaker and probably the Spy Cross Family Cold White movie because we like that a lot too. How's that sound?
Okay.
So we're going to do that. I'm going to slow down so that I don't fumble over my words. It's just that I'm feeling kind of excited because this is really fun stuff to talk about. I actually have a bunch of notes on Challengers. Well, not a bunch, but some notes on Challengers. So we could talk about that. Julian, you and I saw Challengers, and I remember at one point in the movie, you leaned over to me and you said, what did you say? I think you said something like, this is like a CW show, but spicy.
So it's a spicy CW show. It's a really pretty CW show. Like, you're not
beautifully gorgeous.
You're not going to get the sex that people think they were getting from the trailer, but it's sexy enough though. Like, you know what? This movie, if I actually had like a kid, if it was like in middle school, I'd be like, yeah, you can watch Challengers. Ain't nothing that crazy in this movie.
No. Especially, it's not anything over the top or too wild. And it's funny because you and I have different opinions on the movie, but the one thing that we agree about is that the cinematography is absolutely incredible, but also the visual language of the storytelling is so good. I have the cinematographer's name here, but I do not know if I can pronounce it. So we're just going to put that in the write-up because I'm sick of mangling people's names. But to set Challengers up, this is a movie about tennis. I mean, centrally about tennis, but also about relationships. It goes the classic route of a love triangle. So basically what happens is you've got these two boys that come from privilege, but they're very, very good tennis players. They're working their way up. They're all teenagers, and they meet a woman named Tashi. What are the boys' names? I can't even remember these dudes' names. I remember Tashi's name because that's Zendaya and,
Yeah, it's Art and
Patrick. Art and Patrick. So we've got Mike Feist and playing Art and Josh O'Connor playing Patrick. And they meet Tashi Donaldson, who really, you guys, is basically Serena Williams, but played by Zendaya. And that kind of character. There's a lot of Black women who are great in tennis. You can talk about Althea Gibson, but for ones that y'all really, really know right now, it feels like, I guess it could be Naomi. Anyway, I'm rambling. The point is, great Black rising tennis player. And both of them fall in immediate love with her. And the love triangle begins. And then the story takes place in those days when they were in their youth. And then later when they're in their
early 30s.
Early 30s? You think early 30s?
Yeah, because they mention the age in the movie.
Okay, good. Okay.
Like, they be when they're teenagers. 30s. It's like 15 years, essentially. But
yeah. When you're
17, 18, it's like you'll be in your early 30s. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. There's some role reversal here where the person you thought was going to be the great is struggling, and the person you thought was lagging behind is now in center stage. And then, there's been an injury. I think that's in the trailer, right? The injury happens in the trailer.
Yes.
Yeah. So in the trailer, we see that Zendaya's character Tashi has a career-ending injury, and years later she ends up married to Art, which nobody expected because Patrick was the star. And it's all about the machinations and turmoil in this kind of triad and where they lead each other. So tell me how your feelings are. I think I set that up. You should set things up next time because I ramble too much.
No, you do a great job because you know I hate doing this. Yeah, I don't know. For me, this movie worked as like just a messy, sensual sports drama that felt like it was from like 1999 or 2002 or something. You know, for me, it felt like Zendaya is like a dominatrix controlling these two men, but also she's like the embodiment of tennis.
She is. I was going to say that. She is literally tennis. And in certain scenes, she becomes the ball that they are volleying back and forth.
It's like she's literally the game. She's literally the game.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't know if everybody had picked up. Anybody else had. I haven't read a lot about it, but that epiphany came to me after the movie. It was like, oh, yeah, she's tennis. And that's why all she can talk about is tennis. And that's why this movie is so almost experimental in its artsiness.
Yeah. I like the from the stuff I read, I don't know if people call it like she's the embodiment of tennis.
Tennis.
Like
as we always do.
Like there's certain things was like, oh, there's not enough backstory, interior. No, she's tennis. Like she's it's like was it Naruto? Like she's the fox in Naruto's belly. Like no, she's Kurama. She's
the goddess. Yeah, she's the goddess of tennis. You know, like
it must please her.
Like the muse. She's like a muse. Yeah. She's like the living embodiment of the game. Yeah. But it also go ahead though. I guess.
Yeah. No, it's just I personally liked that dynamic of in a lot of ways, these very sports show the protagonists, how they essentially, they love each other, but the game gets in between them and their passions, but it affects both of their game. Like they both aren't as good as they could have been because they focus too much. Like I don't know. Like I rock with it as a sports movie, and also 9 Inch Nails is score. Goodness.
Oh my God.
Goodness gracious. Go buy it. Like just go buy the whole thing. Like the album. Don't just stream it. Just you gotta own that.
Trent Reznor and Atticus. What's Atticus' last name?
Atticus Ross.
Finch. Atticus Ross. The way that I don't know if you remember this, but I leaned over to you and I said, this music got me feeling like I'm about to do a Steven Universe fusion. I was like, I'm in here dancing like Garnet. I'm ready to turn into a giant woman. All I want to do. That's what I wanted. Like, that's how the music had me amped up. And it fits so in pocket with the frenetic pacing of this film, the way that you feel like you're watching like a great match at Wimbledon, and the sound effects, the ball. At one point, y'all, they put the camera on the ball and you are being volleyed just like Zendaya, back and forth, never knowing who is going to like take control, who's going to be that ultimate winner and give you that feeling that a great match of tennis is supposed to give you.
Yeah. Some of that, the camera work or the idea, the creativity of where they decided to put the camera for certain scenes. Like sometimes like it's supposed to be like under the court or it's on the ball or it's from the perspective of the racket in the hand of one of the players and it shifts to the other side. And it's like, I was like, that's not even like a video game because when you play tennis games, you're never playing that first person view. So I was like, y'all, this Luca, you creative, bro. Like there's some movies I don't like from him, but man, this right here, I need that 4K.
It is the visual language of this film is absolutely brilliant. So brilliant that for me, it may cover up some of the problems. I had some problems with it and I left. Now I felt like that tennis ball. I didn't know what side of the court I wanted to be on, if it like pleased me or if it displeased me. And I do have to say that Zendaya being a Black woman, that it takes on some subtext that I don't think was intended because she's a Black woman and because she is the embodiment of tennis, which extracts backstory and depth from her character because she is just a driving force that controls every waking thought for these dudes. And because a lot of people didn't, as you and I do, you and I are often thinking the same thing, because a lot of people didn't seem to really talk about that angle of it, it takes on a context of her being at best a plot bunny and at worst just a device, which is not pleasant to see for a woman of color in this film. And like I said, I do believe that subtext is unintended, but it is there.
Yeah, it's just like one thing I learned after the release was that Roger Federer and his wife ends up being his coach after she was hurt. So I think some of that was inspired by him and a bunch of other like actual tennis players. I was like, I really do personally think that this movie actually wasn't like written as a vehicle for Zendaya, but she chose it. And it doesn't have those things in there that people want, that especially women of color that's been talking about it. I don't think those things are in the script, and they didn't rewrite the script to do that, which could hurt it for certain people. For me, she has all the power in the movie, so it's just like I don't. It doesn't affect me the same way. It's probably because I'm a dude.
Well, I mean, we all have different perspectives, but I'm going to read you two of my notes right quick because this is funny. I wrote a match between two romantically entangled frenemies in which Zendaya's Tashi is the ball being volleyed, and yet she has ball control. How am I meant to feel? Later, I say Zendaya is tennis. Yeah, I said, here it is. Zendaya's Tashi is literally tennis itself, a personification that takes a different tilt when it's a Black woman bounce back and forth between rich and athletic white guys. So yeah, so those notes were there. I'm still laughing. But another part of it is that right up front, there's so much. We talk about how the visual language, the storytelling of the film is at such a high freaking level. Like, this level is high. And so right up front, I'm like, there's so much homoerotic imagery here. These two guys must have a hidden love for each other. Of course, is going to come out because they're foreshadowing it. And being able to do that with imagery alone, Julian, imagery alone. A lot of people can't do that with words on the page, let alone just visuals.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Them European directors a little bit different.
Oh, you said they're
a little bit freer. They're a little bit freer.
Just like the Japanese writers are built a little different, which we'll talk about in segment 3. But yeah, we're closing down this segment. But is there more that you want to say? Anything?
Yeah, I think it's a valid thing to say that to see her as like the ball. But I never saw her as the ball.
Tennis. No, she is tennis, but she's also been, because she's tennis, she is being volleyed back and forth between the two of them. The ball is tennis, is what I'm trying to say. But
so I almost see her like, she's the person who sits in the chair. Like, she decides, like, it's your time. It's like, I think it's interesting because
all of tennis, yeah.
Yeah, she's the game,
Yeah.
I do think this overall, this is a perfect movie for Zendaya to be like, I'm an adult now. And I think she starred and produced along with Amy Pascal to pick a perfect movie to say, like, I'm not playing 17-year-olds no more. Like, I'm an adult. Like, yes. And I'm like, this was successful. This was successful in that feat to show me you as a mature adult woman and not as a teenager for the umpteenth time. And I'm happy for her.
I'm happy for her with that too.
Successful.
I also found some commentary on rich guys playing poor, but we got to come out of here. We'll be back to talk to you in the next segment. There are some amazing stories about my mom, and I love hearing her tell them. I also love hearing the rest of the family tell stories about her. But I especially love my mom talking about growing up and being in the UK, how she used to go after school to watch Bollywood movies. So she loved all of the Kapoors of those eras. And it's so fun to listen to and to share those memories with her. It makes me happy. As a matter of fact, I have a lot of mothers in my life. I have an amazing godmother. I have aunties who are like second and third mothers to me. And so I love getting stories from all of them. So just in time for Mother's Day, I found the perfect gift that captures all of their stories, every one of your mom's, mother's, mama's, the whole range, and it's called Storyworth. Storyworth helps you preserve precious memories and stories from your mom and all your other mother figures for years to come. And you're going to want to do this. So here's how it works. Each week, Storyworth emails your loved ones one thought-provoking question that you get to help pick. It could even be something like, tell us your best memory from skipping school, if that's what you want to do. Storyworth makes the writing process a breeze. All your loved one needs to do is respond to that email with a story. Long or short, it doesn't matter. You'll be emailed a copy of your loved one's response as they're submitted over the course of the year. You'll get to enjoy their retelling of the stories you already know or be surprised by stories you never heard before. After that year, Storyworth compiles your loved one's stories and photos into a beautiful keepsake hardcover book that you'll be able to keep, share, and revisit for generations to come. You can even keep a copy of the book for yourself. Families love Storyworth. That's why it has more than 25,000 five-star reviews on Trustpilot, with millions of stories preserved since they were founded over 10 years ago. Give all the moms in your life a unique, heartfelt gift you'll cherish for years. Storyworth. Right now, save $10 on your first purchase when you go to storyworth.com/GGRIOT. That's storyworth.com/GGRIOT to save $10 on your first purchase. And you want to do this, you guys, because memories matter. It's Geek Girl Riot with Sherin and
Julian.
And in this next segment, I got to sit down and talk with George Rexstrew and Jayden Revri of Dead Boy Detectives, which is the new series on Netflix. You guys have probably seen it. Hope you've seen it. If you haven't seen it, this interview will make you want to. Julian, I think you might be familiar, but this is a Neil Gaiman comic book that's set in the
Vertigo book.
The best. Vertigo is my favorite. Vertigo book set in the same world as Sandman. And let's just hop into this with George and Jayden.
We're watching like a Sandman universe develop on Netflix, and your showrunner said you would pay money to be on Sandman. So I wonder, what gets you giddy about being the Dead Boy Detectives on your show, but possibly beyond?
Everything about playing the Dead Boy Detective. I mean, these characters are so well written and well carved, and to be able to embody these characters was such a privilege. And to talk on your point about us saying that we would pay to be on Sandman, listen, me and George said from the start, we would have paid to just do this show. So yeah, we're very blessed.
Lovely. Well, how about you, George? Same thing for you?
What he said.
Okay. So I enjoyed tripping through this paranormal world with you, but was there a moment when you were reading the scripts that you were like, this is going to be so good?
Reading the scripts was such a fun process because each episode is like a mini horror film in and of itself. They're all interconnected, but they're all very individual as well. So I found when I was reading script to script, I was taken by surprise at each turn because they were all so different.
Yeah, they gave you guys a lot of room to grow in 8 episodes, right? And to reveal kind of these deep hidden emotions, which brings me to Charles, Jayden, because he says his role is to uplift spirits and to keep smiling, but there's so much hidden rage in him. And I was wondering, how did you find that balance so that we get to know him and then we get to see his depths?
I think the way that we got sent the script, so we got sent them episode by episode, and I kind of had the idea the whole time that Charles was, this cheeky guy. He uplifts people, he smiles a lot, and then kind of as I got to dive into that, I kind of learned in real time like what he was going through. So finding the balance was super easy for me because of the way we received the scripts, and also when I kind of went to do those kind of performances and I had to take myself into those kind of spaces, I made sure that before, I spoke to people like professionals who deal with people who have been through that kind of trauma and stuff. And I wanted to make sure that I delivered it in the best way to show what it is really like to deal with those kind of problems. And, you know, because it does happen. But I also believe that in the series, you know, Charles had to go through those things in order to, you know, move on and find out that, you know, he's not a bad guy.
No, I think Edwin does a great job of letting him know that too in that scene that they have.
Under the canopy.
Yes, it was so nice, you know. Well, the scene where, you know, bad guys never worry about being bad guys. That was great. And I have to say that the flip side of that, George, is that Edwin is hiding a lot too. He puts people in their place, I feel like, to keep them at a distance. So what were the keys in unlocking Edwin for you?
Such a good question, but
Really. Edwin's the real product of his circumstances. He comes from an Edwardian England, so he's very buttoned up, he's very hemmed in and incredibly repressed. And I always imagined that he had quite an absent family and that he was shipped off to his boarding school at 8 or 9 years old. So when it comes to themes around love and connection, he has no fluency whatsoever at all. I think in terms of how did I discover his arc, firstly through the scripts and just playing scene by scene, but secondly through all of the other characters. At the start of the show, Charles and Edwin have such a set routine that's been the case for over 30 years. And with Crystal's arrival, she creates this massive rupture in their dynamic, personally and professionally. And then Nico enters the fray, and we have the Cat King and Monty. And all of these character interactions ultimately lead Edwin to Charles at the top of a staircase.
Yes, the Orpheus and Eurydice moment, or a Eurydice moment.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the bond is evident, and I hear that you guys have bonded. I want to know, and this is me just being kind of cheeky, what are the similarities and differences in your real life relationship with each other versus the Dead Boys?
We're both a bunch of weirdos in real life.
That's why we're here together. The weird have got to unite.
Right. We, you know, we share the same love for this show and for the people, and you know, we bonded straight away, and it was instant. And I think, you know, Charles and Edwin, they have the same vision. They're there to fight injustices that they never, you know, got solved with their own deaths. And I think in that bond that you create in, like, let me think about this answer for a sec. But I think that bond you create when you're two people who want the same thing and you go through something that nobody else can relate to. Mm-hmm. I think that's how me and George are similar to Charles and Edwin.
Okay. Oh, say it again. We lost you.
I said I just rambled. That was such a bad answer. I'm so sorry.
No, we're chatting. I like it to be like off your head, like that's real.
Edwin and Charles love working together, and I love working with Jayden. Yeah. I wouldn't say I'm super similar to Edwin on a personal level, but in terms
of how that fabulous ring. No,
that's the stylish Edwin. That's definitely
I'll take that. But my love for working with my partner in crime is absolutely matches that of Edwin's.
Yeah, I can feel the good energy. Yeah, absolutely. So let's have fun to close this out.
Great. Okay.
Among the Endless, who are each of yours favorites and why?
Is that out of all of like the siblings?
Yeah.
Oh.
And you've met two of them. Well, yeah, at least Edwin has met two of them. So.
Do you want to go?
No, you go. I still don't know my answer.
I would have to say Desire. I think Mason does such a great job in the show of physicalizing the feeling of desire.
Yes, they were so perfect.
They were so perfect. So that would be my answer.
And I'll choose Despair, just because Donna Preston is Donna Preston.
She is the best.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she's a proper hoot, and she's a super talent as well.
Incredible. How she can switch like from herself to that character is beyond me.
And she filmed the scene in Crocs, part of her costume.
What was it?
Part of her, she wore Crocs, yellow Crocs.
Did you really? I missed that. I just watched the Hall of Mirrors and oh, that's good. Hopefully we'll get a behind the scenes where we can see more. And then of course, hopefully for season 2, so we can say goodbye. Is there a scene that you're like, now that everybody can binge the series, is there a scene you're waiting for them to see and react to?
Question.
Mine would be the scene with despair. I haven't been able to talk about it until now.
Yeah.
And that was my last scene of the shoot.
Oh.
So it holds a special place in my heart.
And your friends now, as she said.
For me, I think just any scene where you get to see Charles, Crystal, and Edwin being the crazy 3 that they are. I know me, George, and Cass had such a amazing time filming those scenes where, you know, it's very fast paced. They go back and forth from each other. Like them seeing, I think the energy and the chemistry really, really shines through. Shout out to Cass. I know she's not here right now, but yeah.
Yeah, the 3 of you are fantastic. Who, my character?
Yeah, who are you most like?
Oh, who was most like me? Probably like a little bit of Cass and Nico. Cass, a little bit of Crystal and Nico. I'm Caribbean, so we have those little things where we can, you know, speak to spirits and stuff like that. But I'm also a super anime girl, and try to like make everybody feel happy and comfortable. So that's
Oh, what did you think of the scene in episode 6?
6. What was it?
Goes and sees her like ancestors.
Oh my God. Yes. See, that's what I connect to. You know, that's what we talk about, the ancestors and passing down things through the ancestral line. I wasn't able to put that in my review because Netflix was like, don't talk about this. But yes, that resonated so deeply with me. Oh, so I wish I could talk to you guys more, but I know I'm running out of time. So I just want to say this is Sherin from Geek Girl Riot with our dead boys, Jayden as Charles, George as Edwin. Can't wait for everybody to see this series, Dead Boy Detectives. Thank you, guys.
Sorry, what made you put on lipstick?
And get it on my teeth, too, by the way. So
That was George Rexstrew and Jayden Revri of Dead Boy Detectives. Binge the whole thing right now on Netflix. I hope you do. And so what Julian and I are going to do to close out this segment is we're going to talk to you about our favorite or really good comic or game adaptations and, you know, just do that thing. So, Julian, what you got?
If I go with comics, I'm probably going to go with Spider-Man 2.
Oh, wow. Okay, break it down.
Since Sam Raimi was able to get the origin out of the way in the first movie, which is also perfect, which I feel that Spider-Man 1 and 2 is just as equally perfect as Superman and Superman 2. 2 is just, it's better than the first one. It totally captures the character, especially if you read Spider-Man comics from the late 60s into the 70s. It captures the movement. It captures perfect Dr. Octopus. Ant-Man's old like she's supposed to be. Spider-Man's broke. The dynamic with Harry. It has the right amount of soap opera. It has the right amount of drama, superhero things. It's a perfect superhero movie. And there's not many perfect superhero movies. And for me, none of the other Spider-Man movies has gotten close to the little Spider-Man perfection of that now 20-year-old film. Well, actually,
Okay.
20 in like a week.
Are we excluding Miles? Or are we including Miles?
I like Spider-Man 2 more than any other Spider-Man movie, period.
Okay, fair enough. So before we go on, let's hop a little bit into Fallout because people are loving this show on Amazon. And you had
Great.
it is
Kinda great.
first of all, y'all, we're artists, so we often talk about the art, the production design. Oh my gosh, the design on that salamander creature and how they gave us hints as to what it is. but just everything about it, the bunkers, the costuming, the way they designed the ghoul, everything is so gorgeous. But then they back it up with storytelling that is like rip your face off storytelling, but it's also very much rooted in humanity. I just like this show messed with me so hard I had to stop watching and take a break. But you had some nice thoughts on it. Anything you want to share?
Yeah, as a person that's only been tangentially connected to the games, yeah, I think it completely captures that vibe, completely captures the aesthetic, translated to a new medium. Is it slavish to the stories of those games? They're able to make a new story that people should know is canon within the universe. Please note, people, it will reveal things.
That character, yeah, and that character,
a lot of things are revealed.
Female. Yeah, okay.
But even still, like this story relevant things that happen, and it actually made me think about sitting down and like playing 2 of the games and beating them. Like, and I don't even enjoy them that much. That's how good that show is. Like,
it's a
pretty
strong show.
Amazing.
Because more than you have texted me and said, yeah, you need to watch Fallout. Like a lot of people have sent that message over. I have to say, let's see, I feel like Invincible is translated really well.
It is.
It's another one that is another rip your face off, punch you in the gut kind of show, slit your throat even. Sometimes you're just like gasping. I am still angry at Julian and Philip Rioters for letting me get hit in the head multiple times because I never read the comic. They are rude and inconsiderate, but it's just such a well-developed, animated, insightful show. And that's top for me. I said Umbrella Academy is top for me. There's been a lot of good ones despite there being a lot of bad ones. Sandman, I got to use words like sumptuous, like I'm a chef because they was cooking.
Yeah, I bought that on I think on 4K or Blu-ray.
Did they give you the extra episodes?
It's the whole season.
Oh, it's the whole season with the Night of the Cats and everything.
Everything that's on the Netflix.
Good.
Good job, Warner Brothers DC and Netflix for putting out a physical copy of that CB show, which I hope they do with the Dead Boy Detectives, because that might be the way in which I watch it.
And I think you're gonna like Dead Boy Detectives too. It's a little more fun and free than Sandman. It's a little more YA really in a way, but YA can be very dark, so that really doesn't tell you anything. So what's your next pick? Because we got about 2 minutes.
I guess I went with the comic last time. I guess for a video game, it's the Super Mario Brothers movie.
You love that movie. I loved it. I mean, and I will sing the Peaches song anytime, anywhere.
He was robbed of his Oscar. He was robbed.
He was robbed.
To me, for some people, they said it felt like a commercial or whatever. Like, nah, it just capsually translated what Super Mario Brothers is and the world and what it feels like to play Super Mario Brothers. If people didn't catch that, like, I feel sorry for them. Maybe they need to get in touch with their childhoods or go, buy a Nintendo and play Super Mario. But that joint was perfect. I had no notes. No notes.
It was highly
it could be longer. It could be longer. That's it. I could have more. Sitting here waiting with bated breath. It has a rider kick in it. It has Mario and Luigi doing a common rider kick. See, people don't even understand. They don't get the references because they don't be knowing stuff. It's perfect. They played the music. Shireen.
They did. You saw me. I was with you, so you saw how much I enjoyed it. And I'm not even as much of a Mario fan as you are. My nephew, who is a huge Mario fan, loved it. I mean, again, I feel you. No notes. So we're going to wrap out this segment. I probably have some more, but we don't really have time. This is Sherin and
Julian.
Geek Girl Riot, and there's more. Lots more. And don't forget to binge Dead Boy Detectives because I really want you to see it. It's anime time, also manga time on Geek Girl Riot in this third segment. We're going to be talking about Kaiju number 8, Windbreaker, and Spy Cross Family Code White. So actually, I'm going to start with Spy Cross Family Code White, just real fast. Julian is the one that was like, this anime is coming out. I read the manga. I really think you're going to like it. You remember that?
Yeah, when I put you onto the manga back when it was first blowing up in the pandemic era of 2020.
And you were like, the anime's coming. You need to watch it. And I did. And I loved it. And so when we got the opportunity to get screeners for the first Spy Cross Family movie, some people say Spy Family. Julian introduced it to me as Spy Cross Family. That's
wrong.
what I'm going to call it.
It was wrong. I was wrong, though. It is Spy Family.
Just like Godzilla Kong.
That is the reason. That's one of the reasons why Godzilla Kong is pronounced because Godzilla Kong, because of Hunter x Hunter.
Yes, Hunter x Hunter. Yeah.
It's anime. It's all anime.
It's all anime. I was going to bring Godzilla up in segment 2, and I was like, that doesn't quite work, so let me leave that alone. But yeah, so Spy Family Code White is the new movie. I don't know if it's still in theaters, but if it's not, you should be able. I think it's still in theaters, but soon you'll be. Yeah. Definitely, if you love Spy Cross Family, it's got all the stuff that you love about it. A big adventure where the family hides their biggest secrets from one another, but use those talents to help each other accomplish one of Lloyd's missions. And it does not disappoint for me. Some people didn't like it. I really don't care about that. They could argue with the streets. I enjoyed it because of its essence and it being what we love from that series. If you're not familiar with it, you've got the assassin Lloyd, aka Twilight, who needed to put together a family in order to accomplish a mission called Strix. So he goes and adopts a little girl named Anya with pink hair, not knowing that Anya is actually a mind reader. She's telepathic. And then, of course, she's reading his mind like, ooh, Papa is a spy. She's loving every minute of it. And then he meets this really unassuming, sweet, shy woman named Yor, who he has no idea is the Thorn Princess, the most lethal assassin in everything. There is no one else better able to kill you. And they, like I said, they come together to unwittingly contribute to each other's missions while becoming more and more of a found family, especially with the addition of their dog, Bond, who is prescient, meaning he can see the future. You can read my review on RIOTUS, that's RIOT-US.com. You can read a bunch of Julian's reviews there too. We got a lot of good anime content and more is coming as we're working more and more with Crunchyroll to bring you the deliciousness. Next up, another anime that we're going to talk about more in depth that's based on a manga that Julian also introduced me to is another one. He's like, you're going to love this. And I was like, okay. And I started reading the manga and he was right. And now we've got the anime on Crunchyroll right now, 3 episodes in. Julian, take it.
Are we talking about my beloved Kaiju number 8?
We talk about your beloved Kaiju number 8.
The only shonen series that the shonen hero is 33 years old instead of being 12 or at max 18. He's a grown man with a job. He's getting washed. He can't run. His knees hurt. And all the young people around him was like, "Why you an old man? Why are you here?" He like current LeBron James in the playoffs, but he just started to be a superhero. It's fantastic.
It's fantastic. I think in the anime, he might be 31. I think I remember them calling him 31. I was like, I thought he was older. But the thing is, y'all, a lot of 33-year-olds are not creaking like Kafka is. Julian, what I love about Kafka, and then you gotta set up the rest of it, is that you know that he's named Kafka after Franz Kafka, who is the writer of the Metamorphosis, which is about a guy who slowly turns into a cockroach. Which is a delight for me. But tell them more about Kaiju number 8, because, the world is set up in a way where kind of like My Hero Academia, where it's a heroic world and superheroes are real. In this one, the kaiju are real and they keep popping up all over the place. So they have developed different departments and mechanisms for dealing with that constant threat.
Yeah, you have to think about it a certain way, kind of like for those who see Pacific Rim, how you just you accept the world that like kaiju attacks. And there's different sizes of kaiju, but for the most part, Kafka Hibino is a man who didn't live up to his own dream of joining the defense force to fight kaiju. He is as a child, his town was attacked, and he made a promise with a childhood friend that they would both be great and join the defense force to stop the kaiju from ever causing suffering like they went through. But life get in the way, and he ends up working for basically the damage control of this world, which is he goes and he cleans up.
I love that so much.
He goes and cleans up monster guts that get turned into other things and other products and things for the defense force that comes into play way later that I don't want to spoil. After meeting a new employee of a young man that, his goal is to, join the defense force.
White hair.
Yeah, yes, a white hair. His name is Reno Ichikawa, and basically something happens where our good guy Kafka tries to sacrifice himself to save him, so because he won't have a future. Lo and behold, he gets hurt, but something happens when he's in the hospital, and he's visited by a weird-looking creature that transforms him into a human-sized kaiju that he then uses these powers to fight other kaiju and protect the people, a la the entire basis for Kamen Rider through the history of the 54 years of Kamen Rider.
How about that? It also reminds me a little bit of Parasite, too, in that way. But yeah, that's what's going on. And by episode 3, you do find out that they are using parts of the kaiju to create armor for the defense force. So
I haven't watched episode 3 yet, so I didn't know what they're saying versus where I'm at with the reading. Because with me, I read, so I'm so far ahead.
You way ahead.
We out here. I'm 4 or 5 seasons away from where they gonna be. But it's a wonderful animation. A lot of money on the screen. Fluid, bright, perfectly captures the art style of the mangaka. Who's the mangaka? Is Naoya Matsumoto. I'm butchering that name probably, but they completely captured the tone, the look of that manga, which started as a webcomic. Also, just like Spy Family, both of these started as Shonen Jump webcomics, as digital was starting to take over the industry there as well. One of the newer hits, as some of these other hits start ramping down, like the My Hero Academias and the like, and Undead Unluxe. I hope people watch it, because man, this and Chainsaw Man was holding down that 2020 and that 2021, taking it to new heights. We out here.
Yeah, I need to jump back into the manga, but I did stop for a while. And so I'm really enjoying going back to the beginning and watching the anime. It's the music is good too. It has a lot of thrills in it. And what's really funny is that the excitement that we feel for it, clearly Crunchyroll knows we're excited, because they have a countdown to new episodes of Kaiju number 8 every week. Counting down. They know we're waiting. And they are definitely delivering on that. So it's been fun to watch. Kafka has so much personality. He's everything we want. Watching him try to not only achieve his childhood dreams, but keep a promise that he made to his childhood friend. And to see that distance between them, and how I guess another muse in a way, how she fuels him on to make good, but that he has such the heart of a hero. It's fun to watch. And then it's just really, really terrible kaiju. Like just nightmare fuel
Big
kaiju.
beautiful monsters.
Beautiful.
I gotta get the new SH figure arts from Bandai Namco of Kafka as his kaiju form. You know, if maybe these people will be like, they want to bless me with a free one, but if not, I'll just spend the import prices.
Maybe, you never know. I mean, it's worth looking into. But yeah, so we definitely want you to watch that. We also want you to read it. Like, we want you to do both because it's fun to compare and contrast what's going on the page versus what you're getting on your screen, to see where the changes are, to see where they speed up the story or stack it or slow it down. Another manga that has now just hit in the spring rollout, along with some of the other stuff like Kaiju number 8, is a series that I'm following. And that, you know, Julian will be writing something up on Kaiju number 8. I'll be doing something on this series, Windbreaker. And everybody is like, I think the mangaka on Windbreaker previously did a sports anime, or not anime, but a sports manga. And apparently he's a huge fan of, Tokyo Revengers? It's Revengers, right?
Yes. Huge
fan of Tokyo Revengers. So a lot of people have talked about the similarities between those two things. But I have not watched Tokyo Revengers. I think I started it and I didn't finish. Don't get mad. Don't bunch up. I have to watch a lot of content. So sometimes I have to go back and forth between things. But what I want to say about Windbreaker is I had never even heard of it. Mostly when stuff drops, I at least know something about it. Like I've read something like that. With this one, and not to be confused with the Windbreaker on Webtoons, by the way, y'all. This one is a traditional manga, as far as I know, but it's the version that you will find on Crunchyroll, and it's about this kid who is a complete and total outcast. He's got heterochromia. One eye, I think, is blue. The other eye is amber. His hair does the same thing. One side is black. The other side is white. And he feels like a complete outcast. I can't remember his name. I'm trying to pull it up so I can tell y'all more about it. But but it's written by Satoru Nii, I think is the name of the mangaka. And I'm trying to find it so I can tell you guys more about the name. But this kid his name is Sakura. How can I forget this? The kid's name is Sakura. He believes in nothing more than a good fight. So he comes to this school that is called Furin High School. And the kids at that school have formed kind of like a guardian angels kind of vibe, where they have this whole principality in the city that they protect. They patrol the streets and they protect the town. It used to be, it's almost like a Western. Used to be like a lawless, horrible place to be. And now the people who live in this particular part of town love them because they keep them safe. They're called the Bullfurin, which means guardians. And he meets some interesting characters. Of course, the leader of Bullfurin is a white hair and is seemingly like sweet and fluffy. But, we gonna find out some more about him. He's gardening and stuff. The white hair is always goofy when you first meet them. But I'm really enjoying Windbreaker. There are 4 episodes up on Crunchyroll right now. And I'm enjoying it because Sakura almost reminds me of Chopper. You know how Chopper's always like, don't think that I'm going to like you just because you give me compliments and I don't like it. And just because you said nice things about me. That's kind of what this kid is like, where he's like, people are respecting him. It's like, don't respect me, and punches somebody like because it's freaking him out. He doesn't understand how he could be accepted and appreciated for who he is and for his fist of fury. And that makes this show really endearing to me, Julian. And it makes me also, of course, want to go in and read the manga because, again, I like to compare the two and see where the stories diverge and where they come together. So definitely I would recommend Windbreaker to you. And maybe since you've never read the manga, maybe this could be another anime you could try out and see what you think.
Okay. I will give it a try.
And then I'm going to watch Tokyo Revengers because I need to do that, just to understand the similarities with Windbreaker. So another one I can tell you about, which had me laugh, and I think it's called The Wrong Way to Use Healing Magic. And Julian, the opening music is emo pop punk. And I was like, why did no one tell me? How are they coming in with I've never seen a anime that opens up that's straight emo. I mean, not straight emo, that's straight pop punk, like 3 chords, the whole thing. It was freaking me out in the best way, but that series I think is up to about mid-season, like 13 episodes kind of range. And it's really cute. It's a portal fantasy about this kid who gets sucked in with 2 great kids who are supposed to be the saviors of this land. But then they find out that the 3rd kid is really special too, because he has healing magic, but he uses it wrong. And you kind of get to go on a journey with them. I actually really like that show. It seems to be doing well as well. So that's my pick. we got 2 minutes left. You got any more picks or anything you're reading in manga that's coming to anime that you want us to look out for?
It's not on Crunchyroll, but Go Loser Ranger is on Hulu. Disney Plus it plays with the Super Sentai, also known by most in the West as Power Rangers Archetype, but it has a twist that you should watch the first episode to see. Very interesting, very very slick. Been waiting for this. Took a while for the manga to come into the States, and then we get an anime too, all within the same year. Blessed. Okay, so I have to tell you guys that I have read all of One Piece that's available. I have watched all of One Piece that is available. I finally caught up. I don't know how, but it happened. And I have also read all of Kimetsu no Yaiba, Demon Slayer, and you read it all.
It broke me.
You got to the end. Oh yeah, I knew
got to the end. And
you cried, didn't you?
I didn't cry. It went like when Bo Chan died, but damn. Oh no! Why?
Yo,
why would you do this to me? Yeah,
I understand. I understood. As soon as it was over, I was like, I see why this old sold One Piece for a year and a half. I get it. I understand. It's worth it.
She wrote the.
She deserved to be queen.
She wrote the hell out this series. She is evil. She not evil as gay, but her evil is high level. And that is the end of Geek Girl Ride. You were with Sherin and
Julian.
Watch anime, read manga.